Now, speaking of logic and reason and somebody that lacks it, we've got Joe Biden here, folks. And boy, oh boy, do we have him on a hot mic here, and he's a little spicy. President Joe Biden went to Florida to kind of take a tour of Hurricane Ian's path and kind of look at the damage that was caused by it. And he was talking to Fort Myers mayor, I believe, and he was caught on a hot mic saying a spicy remark along with his promise of federal help. So Biden and First Lady Jill Biden, or Joe Biden, according to Joe Biden, because he doesn't know his own wife's name, traveled to the Sunshine State after Ian's high winds and devastating storm surge dealt billions of dollars in damages to Florida, with much of the devastation focused kind of on that Gulf Coast area near Fort Myers and the surrounding areas. We have digital strategist Greg Price, who captured video of this hot mic moment, and he basically shared it all over Twitter. And boy, is it rich, folks. You're going to love it. You're going to love it.
I was. No one fucks with my
Yeah, goddamn right.
and I can't argue with your brothers outside the house.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Okay, I'll read you kind of what is being said here, because it's a little hard to hear and it's a little hard to understand. So right at the beginning, he said, "No one F's with a Biden." And if you're listening to the podcast, Biden's wearing a blue shirt and a blue and white striped shirt. And he's shaking the hand during this conversation with Ray Murphy, who's the mayor. And the mayor wore a bucket hat and sunglasses, really dressed for the occasion, where Joe Biden's wearing a suit. You know, I think Joe Biden should have actually wore just regular clothes, but to expect this guy to help with any sort of cleanup or do any sort of manual labor, I think is just really out of the question, which we called out the other day when we saw Ron DeSantis sitting there cooking meals for first responders. And I said, where's Joe Biden doing this? Why did it take this long for Joe Biden to get down there and start helping out? If you really want a PR or good optics of this guy looking healthy and actually showing us that he works out, get his booty out there and start picking up trash, start lifting up heavy stuff. That would change Americans. Hell, I would give the guy props for doing that. We're not going to expect that. The guy doesn't even know where he's at. He probably doesn't know he's in Florida right now. He probably thinks he's literally on vacation, and that guy he's talking to is his guide. I'm sorry. If I don't make you, if you're not laughing, look, I make myself laugh all the time. So here's kind of the breakdown. Quote, "Thanks for everything," he said. "Thanks for coming down. We appreciate it." The next few comments were unintelligible, but after a moment, Biden laughs. "No one F's with a Biden." "You're goddamn right," Murphy laughed. Quote, "And you can't argue with your brothers outside the house," Biden replied. Then, to which the mayor said, "That's exactly right. That's exactly right." Critics were quick to suggest that there were a number of people who did in fact F with a Biden, taking to Twitter for examples. Remember, you don't mess with the Bidens, huh? Well, somebody wrote LOL except OPEC, the Saudis, Russia, China, and DJT. I love it. OPEC, right? We're all getting screwed on gas prices right now. If you look at California, in some places in LA, it's over $8. We're paying double, sometimes close to triple to what Florida's paying. And Florida was just devastated, which you would think that the demand for gas would be up because maybe the supply's down. But no. We're paying double here in California. And you have these politicians that are just terrible at their job, right? Oh, well, it's OPEC's fault. It's the gas and oil industry's fault. All the while, we used to have 50 refineries here in California. Now we have 16. All the while, we have freaking taxes through the roof that are supposed to help pay for the roads. We have the worst roads in literally every state in the union. We are number 50th on the list. I mean, there's thing after thing for this damn state here. But look, OPEC, you know, they sit there and they got Joe Biden so wrapped up, it's crazy. And then you put the Saudis, right? This one's rich, folks. You're going to love this. If you watched yesterday's show, you had Peter Doocy questioning Karine Jean-Pierre on the rising gas prices. And of course, Karine's blaming it on everybody else rather than Joe Biden, even though Joe Biden wanted to do a victory lap when gas prices were decreasing. Now that they're going back through the roof, all of a sudden, it's Putin's fault. It's Putin's price hike. It's everybody else's fault. And then she followed up saying, oh, well, he's doing everything he can. He's losing sleep over it, Peter. He's done everything. Look at all the things he's done. And then she brings up Saudis of his visit there and all the good things she's done. And she literally said verbatim, he didn't talk about oil. So we have this massive problem and one of the most oil-rich countries in the world. You don't sit there and talk to them about this? But he's doing everything he can. Don't worry, folks. He has you taken care of. Everything's going right in this country. You also have Russia, China. Remember when he looked at Trump, he said, China's going to eat your lunch, man. Really, Joe? Really? After everything that's come out with your business partner, Hunter Biden's business partner and your business partner on the whole shebang of the 2020, how the FBI sat there and kind of buried it. Yeah, no, that's not corrupt or anything. You're right. Yeah, nobody messes with the Bidens other than freaking everybody, like the Taliban as well. That one worked out great for you, didn't it, Joe? Jeff Carlson writes, except for China and Russia and Ukraine and anyone else who paid them. But away for that, sure. So the whole paid thing, right? That goes with the Hunter Biden story and everything else that's going on with that. Well, you have Liberty Lock Pod writing CCP, Russia, North Korea, OPEC, inflation could not be reached for comment. Oh, no, no, no. But hey, you know what? Let's assert that Inflation Reduction Act that doesn't actually reduce any inflation. But again, folks, he's doing everything he can. Just watch a few clips of this guy walking around Florida. When he got out of the car and he went up and talked to Ron DeSantis, I mean, just watching him put on his coat was a struggle. And then you watch him pooter forward and everybody else is walking fine. He's the only one that's like walking all old, you know, just like trying and barely making it. I hope Ron comes out and says, look, I talked to this guy. Dude didn't know where he was at. Guy thought he was in Hawaii. He didn't know he was in Florida. Dude didn't even know he was president. He was looking around, looking for more ice cream, chocolate chip ice cream. The dude's lost. Okay. He's senile. And it's only getting worse. It's only getting worse from this guy. We still got 2 years. We still got 2 years of this stuff. Kurt Mills says, if the White House and the Democrats actually let Biden, the actual dude, be president, he'd probably be hilariously popular. But that happens like 4 days in a basically miserable 600. Yeah, look, we all know what's going on with this guy. It ain't looking good. But at least he did come out and say that Ron DeSantis has done a remarkable job. He did say that he was doing a good job. And then he just went on to kind of ramble like a telephone pole here. So let's go ahead and roll it.
Thank you.
What do state and local and federal officials need to do differently to prevent future loss of life?
What the governor's done is pretty remarkable so far. I mean, this is what he's done. In terms of, you know, it's you know, first of all, the biggest thing the governor's done and so many others have done, they've recognized this thing called global warming. The world is changing. It's changing. And we have to change the way with the zoning codes. For example, the woman who heads up all this area for me, Liz showed me a picture of the telephone poles we put up. Liz, where were they? Liz. Anyway, Liz showed me a picture of the telephone poles we put up in Florida. I'm not sure where were that telephone pole you were showing me?
Oh, it was right here, Fort Myers Beach.
For Fort Myers Beach. Instead of doing cement poles or wooden poles, we put up steel poles. And guess what? They all were sustained. They all survived. The wires survived, the poles survived. It cost more money to put them up.
Precedent's going on about telephone poles, folks. Just like, we went from him doing a good job, meaning Ron DeSantis doing a good job, to global warming, to talk about telephone poles. Okay, that's if that doesn't sum up the Democrat Party in terms of where they're at on choosing politicians, hell, I don't know what does, folks. Maybe him hitting a golf ball backwards or falling up a flight of stairs or losing track on how to get to the Oval Office. I mean, there's an endless gaffe from this guy, literally compilations above compilations, of which we've done here in the Bald Brad Show that has well over 1 million views. So just unbelievable stuff coming from the Biden administration. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.